When are you doing Cliff Kingsbury?
First.
Okay, so I'll do... Okay, you'll start, and then I'll do Kyler after.
Okay, yeah.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's first exclusive segment. Maybe only, maybe, I don't know. Exclusive segment of the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
I'm Anthony.
Just letting you guys know, this week we were touching on a division on the podcast, and then we were going to do a free agency winner and losers episode. We have a post-free agency mock draft coming up soon. So yeah, be sure to check all that out coming up. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Little Italy Pizzeria. Best cheesesteaks, best pizza, all in Delaware.
2 locations. One of those is in Middletown, Delaware. The other one is in Townsend, Delaware. It's a great family business with great food, great people, great prices. Be sure to check it out. Let them know the greatest podcast on turf sent you for a discount off your meal. Show proof that you're subscribed for an even bigger discount. Did I get the script? Did I get the script right?
Yeah, perfect. Except for the stutter, but it's fine.
We ain't going to talk about it.
It's a big moment.
I thought we were going to ignore it. I'm not used to doing ads. All right, so to start off, I think this guy could have arguably been on the hot seat last season, but this year he's definitely on the hot seat, and Ryan's going to piggyback off of mine. It's Cliff Kingsbury. There's been questions around if Jesus Christmas. If Cliff,
at least it rolls.
If Cliff Kingsbury was the right coaching hire, the fact of the matter is he didn't have a good coaching record at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
He didn't. His first couple years in the NFL, he sucked. To be fair, the Cardinals weren't very good either. But the past 2 years, they've kind of been trending upward. They got Kyler. They got D-Hop. I mean, they killed it last year. Then, to be fair, they did lose their best player, D-Hop, and they fell off a cliff. But that should only affect you so much. I think Cliff Kingsbury is not a good coach. Now, I will give the Cardinals the benefit of the doubt. They have a very hard schedule this year.
Well, there's 17 games, and they play the Rams
twice, the Niners twice. They also play Denver, Kansas City, Chargers, Raiders, New England, Philly, Tampa Bay. Yeah, they have a hard schedule this year, but I don't care. If Kyler's good enough and if Cliff Kingsbury's a good enough coach, they should be able to still win. I know they're in a tough division. They have a tough schedule, but I don't care. There's only so many excuses you can make for Cliff Kingsbury, so I think he's on the hot seat this year, and I think that if the Cardinals have another lackluster end of the season and a lackluster playoff run, I think Cliff Kingsbury will be on his way out.
For me, my next person that's on the hot seat, it's Kylie Murray. Personally, I don't really back this that much. Because I like Kyler Murray. I think that he's fine. I don't think that he's the problem in what's going on with Arizona. I think the team of Arizona has dealt with injuries, and they don't really have that good of a supportive cast around Kyler Murray to begin with. Bringing in AJ Green was a fluke, one would say. James Conner is his best running back.
They did worse this offseason, too.
Yeah,
they got a lot worse this offseason.
Downhill. But Kyler, I mean, if he wants his big contract, he's going to have to prove it, show it. I think Kyler's gotten better every single year. I think Kyler's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. I ain't really saying much because they're shit in the NFC.
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
Who else was in his draft class? I'd probably still take him over anybody else in his draft class.
I mean, who else? I don't
know if there was anybody in there.
No, because that was like Kyler, Nick Bosa.
Yeah. But still, Kyler, I would still take him 101 overall. I don't think this is on him. Like I said, he's gotten better every single year.
I want to say maybe Will Grier.
I'd take Kyler over Will Grier. I'd back Kyler. We don't know. I'm an Oklahoma fan, so he is on the hot seat though, according to some people. I think he's fine because he's putting up good numbers every year. You know, he made it to the playoffs in his third year with a team that not very good. So
I will give you the bad news. That really isn't saying anything, considering the competition is Daniel Jones.
I'd take Kyler over Daniel Jones.
Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, it was that shitty one.
Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock.
Oh, no.
Greedy Williams. I mean.
Anyways.
Jesus Christ.
Kyler, he's somewhat on the hot seat, but I'd say this Cardinals team is more on the hot seat in general. I think Kyler will be fine, though.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, Wilger, Ryan Finley, Jarrett Stidham, Easton Stick, Gardner Minshew, Trace McSorley.
I'd take him over most quarterbacks in the league. I'll say that.
In the league?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Like who?
I don't know most of them. He's still top 10.
Sure. All right, moving on. I needed a final guy to throw in there on the list. And I just needed a guy to take the place of the guy who I had on here, but I wasn't being fair towards him. So I went ahead with all reliable. Matt Nagy's not there anymore. Vic Fangio's not there to bash. So I just went with Kirk Cousins.
Fair.
I mean, let's be real. I'm not sure why Minnesota extended him, I guess, just to clear up some money. But I'm not sure why they stuck with him. Because usually when you get a new GM and a new coach, they want their quarterback. And I'll tell you what, in case you didn't know, Kirk Cousins is not a Super Bowl quarterback. Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback. He's average.
But he gets paid.
He makes a lot of money somehow for being average. Like, and their schedule ain't looking all that bad. They play the AFC East.
They play the Lions twice.
The Bears twice.
Bears twice.
They play the Commies week 1.
That means they play the Jets.
They play the Jets, the Eagles, the Saints. The thing about the Vikings, though, is their roster is pretty good on paper when they're healthy. They're a tough team. Like, I don't want to play the Vikings. But Kirk Cousins is just so bad.
Yeah.
Then it's like, Kirk Cousins, he has to be on the hot seat this year. I don't know how he hasn't been for the past few years, but Kirk Cousins is on the hot seat. And this is just before the draft. I mean, this video probably could change, and I'm sure we'll make another one right before the season because more things will change with probably a couple of the guys I'm going to touch on next. But yeah, Kirk Cousins is on the hot seat. He should have been on the hot seat, and he's just a not good quarterback. So, yeah.
My next candidate, before I start getting to the better ones, I'm throwing out Matt Rule. Ja Rule's brother, Matt Rule.
It's like Adam Gase 2 years ago and Matt Nagy this year. Like it's
Matt Rule. He started out 5-11, and that's fine. You're a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're 5-12. That's no improvement whatsoever.
No, actually got worse in theory.
He was part of bringing in Sam Darnold, I would assume. One would argue he was part of that, deal.
I'm sure.
And he's had to deal with a QB carousel, which is harder than it looks.
Yeah.
But he's also the same dude that brought in Sam Darnold, gave a bunch of picks for him.
Yeah.
And that's where, I started to lose some respect for him. Sam Darnold obviously didn't work out. I think that the Carolina Panthers, what they need to do this offseason is bring in a quarterback. And it's looking like that's going to be through the draft.
Yeah. Unless they go get Baker.
Who
I'll touch on in a minute.
I don't know if I love him in this situation anyway, but the Carolina Panthers, they have to do something to prove that this team is something or nothing.
Yeah. They just gave DJ Moore $20 million a year.
Yeah, they just kind of suck. I'm not really that excited about the Panthers' future. They have a couple young pieces that are really good. I suppose like a Brian Burns, McCaffrey, DJ Moore.
Jeremy Chin ain't bad.
Jeremy Chin.
I'm relaying a message to you.
Nice.
Say you're welcome.
Anyways,
now I got you all flustered.
The Carolina Panthers, they are on the hot seat in general. Matt Rule is on the hot job. Rule is on the hot seat. They need to get a quarterback, and they need to prove, that he is more than a 5-win coach. Because he was a good coach in Baylor.
Yeah.
So props to him there.
Mm-hmm.
But he might want to go back to Baylor.
Yeah. Next guy, another easy one, Daniel Jones. This goes without saying. I mean, I think that there's a solid chance that he may not even be the starter come week 1. That's why I said this video would probably be different when we record it right before the season starts. The Giants made a strong push to get Mitch Trubisky. Shows that
they don't want him.
They don't want Daniel Jones and that they want someone else.
If you want Mitch Trubisky,
dude, how fucking down bad do you have to be to go?
Baker's upset about Cleveland wanting Watson. The Giants wanted Mitch Trubisky.
It just shows how bad Daniel Jones is.
Yeah.
I think that, the Giants hold 2 top 7 picks. I think with one of those picks, they're going to end up drafting a quarterback. So, Daniel Jones was on the hot seat last year. The Giants are bad. The Giants just haven't been good. The Joe Judge experiment didn't work out. They brought in the offensive coordinator from Buffalo. I don't remember his name. Brian Daboll, maybe?
Yes.
They brought him in. He's going to want his quarterback. He's leaving an offense with He left Josh Allen, and now he's got Daniel Jones. He's going to want his guy.
Yeah.
So Daniel Jones is on the hot seat. I think that Daniel Jones' time is out. I think he will remain a Giant. I just don't think that he will be the starting quarterback. And if he is, he's going to be on a very, very, very thin leash. He's going to be on thin ice. I'm talking one bad game, he's a goner. I think he's on that much of a hot seat. So Daniel Jones, I know it's an easy one, but it has to be said. There's still some people out there, I'm sure, that believe Daniel Jones is the guy.
They're probably Duke fans.
Yeah. At least Duke's good at basketball.
That's all they got.
Yep. So Daniel Jones sucks.
My next candidate, this one is really easy. Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
He sucks. Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys front office and all the staff and Zeke and the Dallas Cowboys are on the hot seat. They suck. They let a deal fall through with Randy Gregory for whatever the reason is. He has off-the-field concerns. So
Jerry got greedy.
I'm not going to speak on it if I don't know what the situation is. I don't mind seeing Randy Gregory go. Personally, he's a talent, but
you got Van Der Esch.
Like I said, off-the-field concerns. He does, have problems with that. We got Van Der Esch back. We got Kurz back, who are just both average guys. We're not really doing anything. We never do anything, which is fine because the Patriots never did anything. And look at the banner on the wall. I don't think doing anything in free agency. I think that's the right play in free agency. It's a sucker's game. It's an auction, and auctions are always usually overpriced, especially when there's not a lot of stuff there. But Mike McCarthy still has to step up. He has one of the best rosters in football.
Mike McCarthy, I hated that hire from day one.
He has one of the best rosters in football. Ain't really saying much. He has the franchise quarterback. He has a decent O-line. He had a top receiving core. The defense has some studs. It ain't great, but there's some people there.
D-O ain't bad. Van Der Esch.
Micah, Trayvon Diggs.
Micah, yeah, I forgot about
Diggs ain't bad. He ain't top 3, but he ain't bad either. So, Mike McCarthy obviously has to figure it out. We ain't winning in the playoffs. Barely winning now. So, Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next guy, Frank Reich, head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. They hired him after the 2017 season. His first year, Andrew Luck retired.
It's a kick.
Big kick in the nuts.
Yes.
The year after that, they had Jacoby Brissett, then Phillip Rivers, then Carson Wentz, and now I got Matt Ryan.
If he was in on the Carson Wentz deal, then he is.
Yes, Matt Ryan is a big upgrade from Carson Wentz after the play we saw from Carson Wentz down the stretch last year.
I don't know.
I think Matt Ryan sucks. I got chewed out for it in this group chat I'm in with my brother and all his friends. They all died on the hill that Matt Ryan doesn't suck.
Really?
Like Drew from Fantasy, him, my brother, they were all, 3 or 4 of them were dying on the hill that Matt Ryan don't suck.
I don't know.
And I would die on the hill that he does suck. Matt Ryan
is in the bottom 10.
Matt Ryan is just Kirk Cousins, Phillip Rivers, Tony Romo. Matt Ryan's
That's
the same
how
guy.
I used to thought about
He
Matt Stafford.
He just had one MVP season.
Thank you. He's literally in that category. But Matt Stafford.
He had one MVP season with the best defense the Falcons has ever seen. Prime Julio, Devontae Freeman when he was a top 3 runner. Devontae Freeman is that his name? When he was a top 3 running back.
Still had Tevin Coleman who was a stud.
Tevin Coleman.
Nobody remembers that. Austin Hooper was probably there.
Hooper was there.
Was Calvin really there?
Yes. That may have been Calvin Ridley's rookie year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And he's always had good receivers with Julio and Rodney White.
Except last year. Yeah, he had Roddy White. Roddy White is one of those players, when you think of players from when you're little, it's Roddy White, Andre Johnson, Stevie Johnson, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver. All them guys.
He's always had an offense because he's always thrown the ball. Drew Brees always threw the ball.
Yes. But anyways, Matt Ryan is just dumb. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Frank Reich. The Colts, they folded last year. They did. They couldn't beat the Jags in the game to get in the playoffs. That just shows a lot right there. The Colts, they made the playoffs with Phillip Rivers 2 years ago, lost to Buffalo in the first round. Then the year before that, they had Jacoby Brissett, didn't make the playoffs. So they've been to the playoffs once in the past. It was our junior year of high school. That was his first season. So it was 4 years ago. One playoff berth in 4 years. They gave him his guy at quarterback. He has a great defense. He's got Darius Leonard, who is, in my opinion, is probably the best linebacker in football.
He's up there.
He's up there with like Fred Warner.
Yeah.
He's top 2. DeForest Buckner is the best DT in football, probably. I mean, they had a great defensive coordinator Kenny Moore, the defensive coordinator turned a bunch of average dudes into a top 5 defense last year.
The roster was in the AFC Championship before he got there.
Yes.
And now they haven't touched it. Granted, they had Andrew Luck. Which is fair.
I seen something that before Washington got Carson, they reached out to Andrew Luck to try and get him out.
Don't they look like shit now?
Yeah.
They're begging.
But the national championship game, did you see him?
Yeah, he looks like shit.
He looks like respectfully, the most respectful way possible, he looks like one of them rats from Flushed Away.
Okay, I never watched that, but...
Like, look at this dude. Like,
yeah,
he's like 130 pounds. He looks terrible.
Anyways, should we go to next?
The Colts, they have an easy schedule this year. You play the Jacksonville Jaguars twice. You play the Giants and the Eagles. You play the Texans twice. You play the Titans twice. They usually split. They play Washington. Dallas. I mean, you play New England for fucking Christ's sake.
Steelers don't have a quarterback.
Schittsburg has Trubisky. But yeah, the Colts, if the Colts don't win a playoff game this year, I think Frank Reich is done. I think he's gone. And I mean, I call it what you want. I mean, it's maybe saying a lot in how loaded the AFC is. But good teams, you are a top hire of head coach. You are a top head coach hiring. You've gotten everything you need. You traded draft picks for quarterbacks. You've moved guys around. And I mean, I know it's hard when you're jumping from quarterback to quarterback every year, but a good coach should be able to overcome that.
It's fair.
So that's where I'm at, and Frank Reich is on the hot seat.
My next person on the hot seat, it is in fact Mr. Carson Wentz himself. If you look at all the things that Carson Wentz was traded for, and I'm trying to find it, but I kind of can't. So if you look at all the things that Carson Wentz has been traded for throughout the history of his career, he is the most valuable asset that has ever existed through the dawn of time.
Guys getting passed around like a vape at a frat party.
I mean, even from the very start of Carson Wentz, like coming into the career draft, they traded up to go get him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. I can't.
The Eagles traded up for Carson Wentz. Then the Eagles traded Carson Wentz to the Colts for what ended up being a first-round pick. And maybe even a third or fourth-round pick. And then Washington traded for him 2 third-round picks.
Yes. And he's also been paid like $100 million.
Yes.
So basically, Carson Wentz is the most valuable player next to Kirk Cousins in NFL history. And my man hasn't done anything to prove it. Actually, Watson's up there now, too. My bad. Because he got guaranteed money because he's safe to play. Anyways, Carson Wentz, he has been passed around. He has been getting paid a lot of money. Teams have been putting their future in him. My man was at one point an MVP candidate, and he has fallen downhill since. He was ran out of Philly. You know, people wanted big things from him in Indy. Absolutely fell apart against the Jaguars. Landed a new job in which he's going to have to go play the Eagles in Philly at least once. So that's going to be a fun, interesting game.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, Carson Wentz is definitely on the hot seat. Everybody's been traded for Carson Wentz. He has been paid. He is the Washington future. So Carson Wentz is on the hot seat.
Sorry. Next. There's a chance I may have to do a quiz right now.
You are next.
All right, it's like that. Anyways, we got the next guy on the hot seat, Baker, Big Money Mayfield.
Sure.
Now, I know that it's hard to say. I mean, even if he was in Cleveland, he would be on the hot seat, but now he's not. I mean, teams are going around asking for draft picks in the package with Baker just because they're taking on his contract. Now, I mean, I think Baker's good. That may just be biased because I like Baker Mayfield, and he's probably my favorite player in the NFL that's not on the Patriots.
Sure.
But I don't think that you should have to. I mean, Baker Mayfield's what, 25, 26?
Yeah, 26, I think.
26 years old. I mean, he could be a franchise quarterback. I mean, he was a number 1 pick, and he really hasn't been bad I don't think
at
he's
least
been
10
bad.
years in him.
His rookie year, he brought the Cleveland Browns to a win away from a playoff game.
Yes, after not starting until week 2.
Yes.
Or at least maybe 3, maybe.
Yes. They did that. His first year in Cleveland, after being the number 1 pick, his first rookie year, he was 1 win away from a playoff game.
Actually, he missed the first 3 games.
Okay. His second year, they make the playoffs. They shocked Pittsburgh. Or no.
No, the next year after that.
The second year, he had a sophomore slump.
Yes.
They weren't that good.
Yes.
His junior year, his third year, they make the playoffs. They have a great season. Kevin Stefanski gets Coach of the Year. Baker's up there for most improved player. They shocked Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
The most points ever scored
Week 1 of the playoffs. The most points ever scored in Pittsburgh history.
In the playoffs.
Baker did that. That's 2 out of 3 good years.
Yeah.
And I mean, 3 out of 3 would be nice, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Then his fourth year, tears his rotator cuff. Plays through it because he's a team player. Plays through it because he's trying to help the team win. Plays through it because he's that guy and he's a dog and Baker's a stud. And then he gets shit on for playing bad. Playing through an injury. I mean, I don't know about you, but quarterbacks throw like that. Left arm. When you have rotator cuff, it's hard to rotate.
It was his opposite shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, it's even you're throwing the ball like this. Your left arm's moving. You're running for your life out of the pocket. You're handing the ball off. I mean, you're doing a lot of shit that hurts. And he played through it. And he got shit on for it. He got ran out of Cleveland for no reason, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think... If I'm the Browns, I ain't giving up all that for Deshaun Watson, who we honestly... I mean, I'm not going to speak on it, but we don't know how...
He ain't playing year 1 because they already paid him, so he doesn't have to play year 1.
Yeah. I mean, Baker got hoed, in my opinion. I mean, that's just me. I think Baker got screwed, and I think that they did him wrong. But, I mean, no matter where he goes, he's obviously going to be on the hot seat. He has 1 year left on his contract. I mean, even if he goes in a bad situation, if he goes to Seattle ain't a fucking good situation. Seattle's probably terrible. But even if he goes there and he has an okay year, Baker sucks, he's not the guy. And it's just unfortunate. He's going to have to go somewhere and be great. But, I mean, I don't think, to me personally, he's not on the hot seat at all. I think he deserves another shot. But, I mean, the way the NFL works, Baker Mayfield is on the hot seat.
To be fair, Carson Wentz is still here. And so is Kirk Cousins. To be fair.
Okay. You make a valid point. You have a point, Ryan.
My last guy, I believe this is the last guy. My last guy that is on the hot seat, and this is, maybe questionable to some, and it might not even be hot seat material. It might be like most pressure. People are going to be looking at this dude. It is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
The man himself. I'm not sure this is a picture of Aaron Rodgers, but it is very interesting.
That's Aaron Rodgers.
Good for him.
Think of him from a commercial.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Anyways, Aaron Rodgers, he took a $50 million a year contract. He said it wasn't going to be $50 million a year, but it's basically 3 years, $150 million, which is arguably about $50 million a year. One would.
3.
Yeah, one would think so. It's actually $50 million and $200,000 or $300,000. So,
Aaron, if you want to donate $300K to a cause, I know a guy. I know a couple guys that would take it.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams is gone, and it arguably wasn't for money, is what they say. Who really knows? We don't. Aaron Rodgers, he took this money, and with this happening, you can't really build a team. And he lost Adams. They say it wasn't about the money, but they lost Adams. They lost Darius Smith.
And now they're going to end up with
Bob Tonyan,
Julio, and AJ Green. And maybe MVS if he decides to come back.
And if this team was 10 years ago, they would be the best team in football. But it is not 10 years ago. Aaron Rodgers took a $50 million a year contract. He had his whole thing last offseason about how he, didn't want to play, and now he wants to play, and now he took his contract. He's staying in Green Bay. You better do something if you're getting paid $50 million a year. You're in an NFC where absolutely no quarterbacks besides Tom Brady. Right? I mean, Stafford, Dak, Kyler.
Dak.
I mean, in terms of, you have 2 quarterbacks in the NFC, and that is Aaron Rodgers and
Tom Brady. Yes. And then there's a decent tier break. I would put Matt Stafford on the same tier as Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Yes.
It's Rodgers and Brady. And
I would say it's Brady, then Rodgers, and then Stafford, Dak, and then Kyler.
Anyways,
But that's a different video topic.
top dogs are Rodgers and Brady, no matter which way you spin it. So he needs to step up and at least lose to Brady. If you don't lose to Brady, then there's something wrong with you. If you lose to Trey Lance or Jimmy G, it's on you.
Again.
So Aaron Rodgers on a hot seat for getting paid $50 million a year.
Yeah. Any honorable mention guys you can think of?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Me either. Maybe Jalen Hurts.
The Dallas Cowboys, once again.
Jalen Hurts.
Mac Jones. Stole his thunder.
Yeah. I think that's about it, though. I can't think of anything else. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to check out the podcast. You guys can click it right below. It should be the next, the video, on the right side, or the recommended videos.
Sure.
It should be there. Follow us on TikTok as well. Follow us on Instagram. I'm sure we'll end up uploading again this week. We'll see you guys next time.
See you.
Peace. All right. So after this.